All right, hindsighters. As you know, that is our guy, Alan Jackson with Jimmy Buffett on Hindsight Media Radio 103.5 FM, where there's always something good to talk about. I am a girl, Miss T, Miss Ty, your host. And joining me tonight soon will be Miss Tylia, aka Miss Ty as well. So you'll have a double dose of the ties. We're going to give you some great nuggets and some great fries and a supersized drink. So we hope that you're going to stay tuned with us. And sooner or later, we're going to have Tylia joining us on this evening. But in the meantime, let's kick it and get footloose with Blake Shelton. Hang tight there on Keeping It Real with Miss T, where we give you the real tea with a twist.
My car, 8 hours for what? Oh, tell me what I got. I get this feeling, times is holding me down. I'll hit the ceiling, or else I'll tear up this town. Tonight I gotta cut loose. Kick off your Sunday shoes, please, Louise, pull me off of my knees. Jack, get back, come on before we crack. Lose your blues, everybody cut footloose. You're playing so cool, obeying every rule. Dig away down into your heart. You're burning, yearning for somebody to tell you that life ain't a passing you by. Yeah. I'm trying to tell you it will if you don't even try. You can fly if you only cut loose, footloose. Kick off your Sunday shoes. Marie, shake it for me. Whoa, my love, come on, let's go. Lose your blues, everybody cut footloose. We got to turn you around and put your feet on the ground. I'll take a hold of your soul. I'm turning it loose. Kick off your Sunday shoes, please, Louise, pull me off of my knees. Jack, get back, come on before we crack. Lose your blues, everybody cut footloose. Kick off your Sunday shoes, please, Louise, pull me off of my knees. Jack, get back, come on before we crack. Lose your blues, everybody cut, everybody cut. Everybody cut, everybody cut. Everybody cut, everybody cut. Everybody cut footloose.
All right, hindsighters. Welcome back to Keeping It Real with Miss T, where we give you the real tea with a twist on Hindsight Media Radio 103.5 FM, where there's always something good to talk about.
Every tiny step we take, from sourcing quality.
Hindsighters, welcome to another episode of Keeping It Real with Miss T, where we give you the real tea with a twist. Joining me this evening, I have my favorite guest, Miss Tylia. And oh my gosh, she's going to give you some great information. We're going to try this again. Tylia actually was joining me a week or so ago, and man, technology decided to have, some type of issue with itself. We're going to blame it on that. So, we're here to give you some great laughs and nuggets. And I like how Tylia the last time added the fries in there. So we're going to give this some fun, good time to talk about her challenges with CP. For you guys that don't know anything about that, she will definitely educate us. But I tell you, she's always talking about how it's part of a party in her head and her mind. So yeah, you stay tuned and you listen up with this. So let me give you a little bit about Tylia, and then she's going to give you a little bit more about her. Tylia Flores is 25 years old. You look at her, you won't even know. She looks so young, guys. And she was born with cerebral palsy. Although her condition has affected her mobility, it has never affected her will and determination to make a difference in the world. Through her many life challenges and obstacles, she discovered her passion for writing. Tylia's goal in life is to share her stories with the world. In doing so, she hopes to help others with disabilities realize that they do too have the potential to make their dreams come true. She is a social butterfly. Trust me, you will realize that and find that out during this call. She's an author, an editor, podcaster, advocate since the age of 18, blogger, writer, dog owner, and Ty believes that self-love is important and that her disability is beautiful. And for all the negative Nancy's out there, Tylia will stump on you with your negative attitude just like she stumps on CP. One of her favorite quotes is, I do not have a disability, I have a gift. Others may see it as a disability, but I see it as a challenge. This challenge is a gift because I have to become stronger to get around it and smarter to figure out how to use it. Others should be so lucky. And that's by Shane Bryan. Her motto is, in life, when it gets tough, you just got to keep on stomping. Ty says she does not want a pity party. She wants to live her life to be the best that she can be and to the best of her ability. She also states that the only disability in life is a bad attitude. So hey, check yours, but also check out her YouTube talking about life. I'm telling you, that's the only disability is a bad attitude. So I hope you have some good up for you today. Let me also share with you that when Tylia was in school, she had some negative Nancy's and some downing or damper Donalds in her life. And those are her educators. And as we know, the educators are supposed to be those individuals that uplift you. Well, unfortunately, Tylia definitely ran into some negative Nancy's and damper Donalds who didn't believe in her as an individual and looked at her disability as an issue. But I tell you what, one day, Tylia gave them an in-your-face moment. Because remember, I told you she was an author, right? So she decided to go back to her school and she gifted books to those same educators. And she gave them a personal message to each of them. And that message was, thank you for not believing in me, signed Tylia Flores, which led the teachers to follow her on social media. Wow, that's bonkers, right? Well, guess what? God will make your enemy your footstool. We'll take it. Tylia's mother and stepfather, they are her strongest supporter, but especially her mom. And I'm sure she is going to share some of that with us, and we look forward to listening. So, Tylia, with that being said, welcome to Keeping It Real with Miss T again.
Thank you for having me back. Thank you for having me back. It's such a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely, absolutely. Super excited to have you. So go ahead. There could have been something that I missed. Share with the listeners a little bit about you and get more in deep if you would like to.
You didn't miss anything about me. Thank you for that beautiful introduction, Miss T. That was fantastico. Well, anyway, for the shorter end of the introduction, my name is Tylia Flores. I am a 25-year-old disability activist. I founded Stomping on CP at the age of 18 and published my first book at 16. And I have cerebral palsy, which in funnier terms is like having an annoying tenant that plays constant disco music in your head.
Wow.
And in medical terms, it was due to lack of oxygen to the brain when I was born. I only weighed 2 pounds, 3 ounces. Doctor said I would never make it. But in cancellation, God decided to give me a surprise, a subscription of a lifetime of CP, and I forgot to cancel my trial after 7 days because nobody gave me the memo.
You know, see, that's what I love about you, Tylia. And for you guys that are listening, I definitely want you to understand, hearing her positive attitude through whatever it is that she goes through, because I'm telling you, and she'll share later on that daily it's a challenge for her. And just to hear how positive she is, Lord, she is also a motivational speaker. We need to add that to her title, because if you think about it, Tylia as a motivational speaker, listen to what she talked about. I want you to go back and replay that at your leisure, because she talked about the subscription and how God canceled the need for things. Oh my gosh, how amazing that should resonate with you. And for those of us that may not be going through what Tylia is going through, that is so great. So we thank you for sharing that, Tylia, and for you just being so positive. And
No
listen, I look
problem.
forward to seeing you on like a TED Talk or a larger stage, sharing all of your little cliches and all that great stuff, because it's definitely motivating.
Yeah, that's my next goal actually in the next few years. So y'all be on the lookout, because Stomping on CP is coming your way.
All right, we'll be ready to step on CP and step on those negative Nancy's and Dapper Donalds, right?
Yeah, those Camper Donalds, they always try to ruin the party, but they ain't ruining my party, not today.
I know that's right. So let's get into it. Let's talk about how have you and how do you encourage those living with a disability, or I like to really call it an ability, to overcome negative thoughts?
How do I encourage that? Well, I try to bring myself around positive people, and I do what I love whenever I feel negative. I write my feelings, I advocate, and I just speak the truth about what I'm going through, and that's what helps me through my negative days. I barely have negative days. And if I do have a negative day, I try to look at the lesson behind it.
Good stuff, good stuff. Now let's also talk about, because you as an author, we always ask the question of how did you get inspired, or what did that come from, that moment of I need to write this, I want to share it on paper, because if I say it to people they may not understand. So your best friend and your non-biological brother Daniel, who passed away in 2010, he was your inspiration around your book James Ticking Time Bomb. So please share a little bit about your friendship with Daniel, your sisterhood, brotherhood with him before his passing, and then what's truly the meaning behind the book James Ticking Time Bomb.
Oh, my sweet Daniel, who I miss more and more every day. The story goes back 25 years ago.
Wow.
We met at United Cerebral Palsy in New York, and from the first day we met each other, I remember the first day we met each other because I was in Miss Michelle's class with him, and he was like, "Do you like Powerpuff Girls?" And I was like, "Yeah, I like the green one, she's cool." And from there, we remained extremely close, me and Daniel. Like, he was always there to encourage me through the program to get my work done and stuff. And then once we were older, I moved to Florida. Like, in the middle of the elementary, I moved to Florida, and we lost touch. But then when we were 15 years old, he found me on MySpace. And then we reconnected from there, and it was like the friendship never left. It was like we regained the years that we lost, and then he got sick with cancer, but he lived out of the country, so we were planning to see each other, but it never happened, unfortunately.
Wow.
But yeah, he was a good friend. He was a good mentor, good brother. Always got on my butt if I didn't do my homework, or if I was like being lazy. He'd be like, "Ty, you could do so much better. What are you doing?" So the inspiration for James Ticking Time Bomb came after his death, and basically the message behind that book is, don't wait for tomorrow, because tomorrow may be too late. Always live your life to the best of your ability, because you never know.
Absolutely, that is so true. So go ahead and give the plug on where people can purchase. I know sometime I wait till the end, but let's go ahead and do it now. Tell people where they can purchase and support you for James Ticking Time Bomb.
You could purchase that on Amazon.com.
Okay, that's easy enough. I know a lot of us nowadays, we're avid Amazon shoppers, pre-pandemic and current pandemic.
I'm guilty. I love Amazon.
Hey, I'm with you, sister girl. I'm with you. Okay, so let's get into talking about, as an advocate, I'm sure that you have communicated with many politicians, and right now the political world is going bonkers. We won't even get into it. That's a
Yeah, no,
whole
that's
nother
all.
show, right? It's
Yeah,
another whole
that's for
show.
a whole nother show. Yes, I have communicated with some politicians, one being Marco Rubio and Senator Rick Scott, who was the former governor of Florida. I haven't connected with Governor DeSantis because I'm guessing he's too busy to answer his emails regarding COVID and disabilities. And I'm just gonna put this out there. We are hashtag we are not disposable, and we need our programs to be active and available, and we need the funding. This is not something to ignore, and you need to put us in the plan. And shout out to President Biden for including us in that plan. Thank you, Mr. President.
Awesome. So hashtag we are not disposable. So everybody out there, if you can, as you're tweeting and as you're, communicating with others, please use that hashtag. Hashtag we are not disposable. And I love it, Tylia. And I'll make sure I do my due diligence and do that hashtag as well in many of my communications. So thank you for that awesome share.
No problem. And be sure to follow me on Twitter too.
Absolutely. Hey, we'll make it happen. Wherever you are, I will be, my sister.
All right.
Let's jump into some things about loving the skin you're in, because I know that, we have some things in common like country music and, many other things. And sometimes we all grow up, or many times we all grow up different and we experience different things. And I tell people never judge someone off of their experience. Their experience is their experience, and you can't knock it because your experience is your experience. But it's important, or before you answer, let me fill the listeners in on why I pose this question to you. Tylia once had challenges with her self-esteem, and many of us can relate, I'm sure. And she wished that her skin color was different, and she wished that she had blonde hair and blue eyes, and she loved to reference the Hilary Duff in the movie Cinderella. So being able to catch that hot-looking guy, specifically in that movie, the movie Chad Murray. Yeah, he was definitely a looker and still is to this day.
Oh my God, yes, I Googled him the other day, and woo, he's gorgeous.
Oh, absolutely. So talk about that. How did you learn to come to love the skin that you're in? You can talk about your background of your race or nationality if you so choose to. No pressure there. But how did you become to love who you are as Tylia Flores in your current skin that you were birthed in?
Well, one day when I was 18 years old, I looked in the mirror and said, dang, I'm beautiful, I'm talented, and I was just ready to tell my story and be comfortable in my own skin, but it took me time because at the time when I was a kid, there wasn't a lot of representation in the media when it came to cerebral palsy and being disabled, and especially not having a Latina or an African American female represent the culture and being disabled. I couldn't turn on the TV and see that. And all I saw was Hilary Duff, Lizzie McGuire, the Cinderella story. She looked beautiful, and I idolized her. I wanted to dress like her, sing like her, be like her, but it took me years to finally wake up and say, you know what, I'm beautiful just the way I am. What am I doing wanting to be somebody else?
Absolutely, you are.
I have a story to tell. CP makes me look sexy, and I'm gonna embrace that. God made me because he wanted to make me this way, and he makes no mistakes.
Absolutely, you better say it. I always say, God does not make junk. So, that's a great thing. And also Talia, when she talks about being sexy, right? In the last conversation that we had, she talked about her wheelchair being sexy, right? Those are her wheels. So,
Yeah, my wheelchair definitely does make me look sexy. It brings the to my step.
love it. See, that's another one of those positives. I love it. I love it. So, Talia, what's very interesting is oftentimes the world does not believe that those with the ability, another ability, have the opportunity to love and fall in love, to even be sexual and things of that sort. They don't truly understand the fact that yes, you guys, we are all human, and you too, just because you have another ability, you're human too. You have feelings, you have needs, you have desires.
Yes,
So, you know, your journey with love, though, was quite challenging, and you have been very open about
yes,
your past relationships, the one you had with your ex that was like a 5-year relationship, and
Yes. Oh my
absolutely.
God.
Yeah. So, you talked about that challenge behind that heartbreak. That was tough for you. So, talk about, because you imagine a future with him, right?
Yeah, we were supposed to get married. We were engaged. Yeah, it was tough for me going through the process of planning a family, building a future, and thinking, okay, this is the person I want to be with. This is it. Like, this is all I had set for. He was even planned to be in like book tours with me and stuff and speaking engagements, and I already arranged it that way. I was supposed to move to Kentucky, but I guess we just grew apart over time because I felt like I was moving up and he was still staying in the same spot he was, and his family wasn't really supportive of his CP, and they kind of allowed him to be hindered because of it. So we broke up, and that was devastating. I went through depression, started writing about my relationship, and that's when I realized that, hey, we need to speak about this misconception of disability in dating because, believe it or not, that experience encouraged me to advocate for couples with disabilities.
Oh wow, now that's nice. And so you're still continuing that on. Have you had like a podcast or where people actually can tune in to you, with that support as you advocating with couples with disabilities?
No, not yet, but I'm working on it. And yeah, I just have to say that my journey with love has gotten better. So I'm really happy about that.
Well, since you said that, so I can sense the eagerness and excitement in your voice when you said that. So who's the lucky fellow?
His name is Joey Odom. We met a few months ago. It's actually funny. So the background story is I have a mutual friend with him, and that mutual friend is named Matt, and he's also an advocate. And he said, hey, I have this friend named Joey that's a musician that has CP. Would you guys like to meet? And I was like, okay, I wasn't thinking nothing of it, but it just came from like one day to the next. We connected, we decided we wanted to be in a relationship, and actually this past weekend he asked me to make it Facebook official. So
Okay, how cute is that? All right, then. So, shout out to your new love in your life. And I know it's early on, but the plug I gave you the last time we had a conversation, whenever you guys, if you make it to that next stage and it's good for you guys and you want to get married, I'm a wedding planner, so give me a call.
yeah, I would definitely give you a call. And he's a musician too, so
Oh yeah, see that's even great. So you can write music for him if you choose, and if it's great for him, and if he has some music he wants to send over to Hindsight, he can send it on over. We'll make sure we get it aired for him.
yeah, that'll work. That'll work.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I just, being that you're a writer, I want to put out there in case somebody wants to, invite you on, or you want to do some spoken word. Tylia is also a writer of poetry, and I want to share one of her pieces with you. She is phenomenal, and this one's called "I Wish." And it says, sitting in my wheelchair, looking up at the night sky, as the stars twinkle back at me, tears falling from my amber browns, as I look down at my feet and see the stripes and restraints that keep me confined, wishing I could break free, somehow, some way. Even if it is just for a day, where I could just get away and finally know what it feels like to walk on the sidewalk, or how it feels to walk up the stairs. All the little things. Oh, how I wish. I love that, Tylia.
Thank you.
That's amazing.
I actually wrote that when I was really sad one day.
Really?
I was like really like I think if I could remember correctly, I was just really like down and out and just sad about life, and I just wrote that, and it was just like something I felt at the time because it's like the little things people take for granted, you know? But
Absolutely. Well, I tell you, I find inspiration in it. That I
thank
wish can be taken in so many different facets. You look at it, you can read between the lines of, because all of us wish that something could be different about ourselves, right? Or
hmm
not even necessarily different about ourselves, but how to improve ourselves. So
Yeah,
thank you for that.
So that's what helps me throughout like my bad days. Rather me being angry and upset, I write about how I'm feeling because that is my coping mechanism.
Absolutely, and that's great. And it's great to write it down because, like you stated, that helps so much when you can formalize that, formalize your hurt and your pain, and even sometimes your anger and your dislike for things or people, and put it on paper, and that can keep you insane and help you move forward. So, yes, keep on with that, Tylia.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it. And it's a positive way because you're not hurting people. You're just expressing yourself in a positive way. You're not hurting people. You're not, you're just using your art to help you cope. And that's what I've been doing since I was 16 years old.
Well,
So,
that's good. That's awesome. So, you and I have something in common. I mentioned it earlier, it's country music. So, I would love for us to take a brief break. And when we return, we'll learn more about you, Tylia, your life journey. We'll CP. And we must also state that disability, it has given Tylia the ability to soar to greatness in spite of the challenges that she may face. So, don't go anywhere. Tylia, we will return in a moment. All right. Welcome back to Hindsight Media Radio 103.5 FM, where there's always something good to talk about on Keeping It Real with Miss T, where we give you the real tea with a twist. Joining me this evening, of course, I have Miss Tylia Flores. She has done a great job so far. We are having a great conversation. You learned about her battle and challenges with CP, but I tell you, when you hear her voice and how she sounds and speaks, you wouldn't even believe it. But I tell you, she is also sexy on those wheels. So the only disability you have is a bad attitude. So I hope that within this you have a good attitude, because that's the best way to live, right, Talia?
that's the best way to live.
Absolutely. We just listened to one of our favorite artists, Mr.
Uh,
Heartthrob, Blake Shelton. Austin, I still love you.
Yeah, oh my, that's actually one of my favorite songs, and that song has helped me through so much. Like when I was 13, I first discovered my love for country music, and when I first heard the song, although it's a love song, it resonated with me because throughout the song, Blake Shelton's trying to find his true love that went back to Austin, Texas, and he never gave up until he found her. And that's how I live my life. I never give up until I find a solution. So that song to me is like my anthem.
Awesome, man. And people don't understand. I know I used to get backlash from a lot of friends. They would say, "Why do you love country music so much? It's so dead and dry and boring." I'm like, no, because if you listen to the lyrics, it actually feels good. It makes sense. It's writing a story, it's storytelling at its best, and you can understand all the words.
Thank you. Somebody who finally gets me. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. So I can relate, Ty.
Oh my God, I used to get bullied so much in school. They're like, you're lit, because I went to school with predominantly black African American students, and they're like, why do you act so different from us? Why don't you
Oh
listen?
no, go ahead and say it, Talia. It's keeping it real. Why do you act so white? Trust me, I got the same thing. Why do you
What?
talk so white? Why do you act so white? I'm like, no, you're ignorant. You mean,
Like
why am I
what?
speaking grammar?
Yeah, what? Why you don't listen to Lil Wayne or who was or Flavor Flav? And I'm like, cause I don't want to listen to those.
Yeah, and no hit to those individuals. Their music, Lil Wayne's actually lyrical. So, but everybody has a preference of what it is that they like, right? And so, being in
Yeah,
radio, we do have to have some form of flexibility when it comes to music, because we may want to play their music on air, or maybe interview them one day, or whatever it may be in the world. But we can have our own personal preference, and country just so happened to be ours.
yes, I remember the first time we talked, and I like freaked out because your name is T, my name is T, and we just clicked. We had that vibe.
Absolutely. I'm super excited. So, talking about vibes, you often say that CP is having a party, and through the pain, you may have to introduce ibuprofen to the party and all of the other stuff. How did you get to that point in your life where you were able to tune out the pain and look at it as a party in your head to keep yourself going and to kind of level out the pain, so to speak?
Well, cause like as a kid, I wasn't allowed to use negative language. Thanks to my parents, I grew up like that. I wasn't even allowed to watch the news as a kid. If I watched the news as a kid, I would get in trouble because the news is too negative. So what I did was, instead of saying I'm in pain, I came up with, oh, CP's having a party. And it's so funny because now my whole family knows the code. They're like, oh, CP's having a party. Tylia needs to go lay down, take her ibuprofen. And let me tell you, when ibuprofen comes in, CP doesn't like it. CP's like, oh, party's over.
Absolutely. Now, you've also talked about your bout with having frustrating days, but also your bout with having anxiety and depression with your bouts with CP. And you shared that you've used CBD oil, aquatherapy. Talk about that, how those two things, CBD oil and aquatherapy, sorry, has helped you.
Well, CBD oil, I recommend it for anybody with CP because it's so natural and it makes you calm and it makes your bones less stiff and you're relaxed. And aqua therapies helped me because I'm able to put weights on my feet and walk in the water without feeling any pain. Versus if they put me in the walker, I'm automatically feeling pain.
Oh, wow, wow. So that definitely does help soothe you with that. And you said you do recommend those with CP or any maybe disability that could possibly help, that CBD oil. You definitely advocate for that to be a use.
Yes, for sure.
Absolutely.
Lifesaver.
Oh,
And
wow.
believe it or not, I didn't start taking ibuprofen till I was like 18 years old because like my parents believed in all natural products and they did as a kid, they didn't want me to get addicted to pills. Smart, cuz most doctors say take pills and they give it to the kids and by the time the kids are an adult, they overuse it obsessively. So what my parents did was when I was 18, they gave me the option to take a pill, but even now I don't like taking the pill. I take all naturals. If I could avoid the pill, I avoid it.
Absolutely. Well, that's good stuff. I recommend that you continue to do natural. I am against medication over the counter, but understand that for most it is definitely necessary if that's what they need. But if you can find a natural, healer, I would recommend you do that more so than trying to go over the counter because sometimes those side effects can be crazy.
Yeah, that's like when I first got diagnosed officially with depression and anxiety and ADHD, because I do have ADHD as well. They prescribed me these pills. They're called Flexitone,
Hmm.
and they were the worst things I took in my life. I started eating more. I started like gaining pimples, and this was right around the time me and my ex broke up, and it was just bad. And one day I woke up and I said, this is not who Tylia is. I got to get back to doing what I love. I got to get back to writing. Uh, you know, so writing has become my medicine. Writing has become everything.
Okay, good stuff. That's awesome to hear. Now, speaking of writing and advocating and all the awesome things that you're doing, how has social media helped you to advocate and connect with others?
Well, social media has its ups and downs, but it has allowed me to connect with so many people I never thought I would meet. Like you, I found you through David and
Hmm.
cerebral palsy and fitness, and he's awesome.
Yes. Shout
So
out to
yeah,
David.
cerebral palsy and social media have allowed me to connect with others like me and share my story in an easier light versus if I didn't have the option of going on social media, who knows where I would be today as far as connecting with other people.
Right. So we do know that too with this pandemic, speaking in addition to social media, a lot of us have had to use those platforms, which definitely has been a positive, right? Because we found people to connect with and build more relationships and find more creative ways to be in tune with ourselves and others. But it has been a great equalizer and forced people to pause before push and play. How are you taking care of yourself and navigating during the pandemic?
Well, I'm taking care of myself by wearing a mask, social distancing, going to therapy once a week, practicing my self-care techniques, taking USAL breaks when I need them, because it could be a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And I
Absolutely.
stopped watching the news after a certain amount of days. I couldn't, like, now that I'm older, I could watch the news, but I still choose not to, because if you watch it, it consumes you.
Absolutely. It's funny that you say that, because when my daughter was in kindergarten, her educator at the time gave the kids an assignment in kindergarten, and the assignment was to watch a news station and write about it. Well, she point
Oh
blank,
my God.
yeah,
I had the same assignment. I'm so sorry to cut you off.
you're fine, you're fine.
I had the same assignment in middle school, and I raised my hand and I told the teacher, I can't watch the news. She's like, you're lying. I'm calling your parents. I said, okay, call them. I'm not lying. I'm not trying to get out the assignment, ma'am. I can't watch the news. And when she got off the phone with my parents, she's like, you're excused.
Wow. So it's funny you say that. My daughter, she's like her mom, very blunt and outspoken, but respectful. So as in kindergarten, she told her teacher that she was not going to watch the news and did not want to do the assignment because there's nothing good on the news. Everything on the news seems to be bad. So why would you give such an assignment? Those were not her exact words,
Oh
but
my
to some,
goodness.
and that's coming from a kindergarten.
She's
And she's
smart.
now 14. Now she's 14 now. So that's crazy, just to know that a child of that age can discern the bad versus the good of something that you're pouring into your body, into your brain, and that negativity can dampen your soul. But oftentimes the lesson behind that is sometimes you watch that so you'll know how to balance it out. And
Mm-hmm.
so I love the fact that she was able to stand her ground and then figure out a way to navigate through that, but knowing that, hey, I can speak my mind and respectfully and share that everything good is not on the news, and there are other ways through a book or a newspaper. Even a newspaper can be bonkers, but finding ways to educate yourself. So hey, your parents were good for that, and keeping you contained and protected and allowing you to find other avenues on positivity, right?
Yeah.
Good
And
stuff. So go ahead.
And I was required to read a positive book on the beach. If we went to the beach, my dad, my stepdad, but he's my father by like spirit. He came into my life when I was 5 years old because my biological father had other plans. Not gonna get into that, but my stepfather, he has always been big on reading, and he's like, readers are leaders, and if you're gonna be successful, you have to read a book, and it's true. You have to always be open to gaining knowledge and being successful and being happy. And each summer he would take me and my stepbrother Brandon to the beach, and we would have to read a chapter of a book. And I remember being 9 years old reading Rich Dad Poor Dad by
Robert Kiyosaki, absolutely.
Robert Kiyosaki, and you know, he's just been a great influence, so I'm thankful for him. And my mom was the same way, but she taught me how to use my voice. She was
Good. So
she's a firecracker too, so I
we'll
love
talk
her.
about that. Definitely talk about that. Talk about how it's important to have, why is it so important to have the support of your parental units during your challenges and bouts with CP, because we know that oftentimes people don't have the support, they don't have the strength, the wherewithal, the understanding, and they give up even as parents, right? And they don't know how to advocate for those with another ability. So can you share what that was like, and what ways did your mom support you and your stepdad support you? And then also, I know this is like a three-part question, so to speak, but tell the parents out there what they can do to better help those with another ability, specifically CP.
Well, my mom and my stepdad, I swear, they're like, if you put Oreos together, those will be those two. They have always been supportive of me. They've always pushed me forward. And whenever I wanted to have a pity party as a kid, my dad would be like, I'm sorry, but it's not working, so you better get the stepping. And my mom would do the same thing. I was treated like any other kid. Like, I would get grounded. I would get my stuff taken away. I wasn't grounded very often now. I mean,
That's your disclaimer.
I wasn't grounded very often. But my mom always treated me the same as my brother, and she always put me in like activities. Like my dad was the coach for my baseball team, basketball, I think soccer even, but soccer didn't last because they're like, you're not really, your legs are too weak to kick, so we're just gonna leave you out of soccer. And I didn't like soccer much anyway, so that's a disclaimer there. But my parents have always been supportive. Whatever I wanted to do, they pushed.
That is so awesome. And you talked about how there was a time where your mom had to advocate for you at school, right?
Yes, oh my God. They didn't like her in the school. It got to the point where the security guards knew her by her first name. She didn't even need like a pass to get into the school, and then I could hear the security guard saying, "Oh, Miss Flores is here. I wonder what teacher's gonna get it now." And I still speak to the security guards to this day. They're like, "We remember your mother because your mother was not one to play with."
Hey, that's awesome. And we all need that. So, to the parents, kind of give them some nuggets on how they can support their um their children or relatives with CP and be a positive versus a negative, and how they can keep themselves uplifted, because I know it's a lot, for your parents. It's a lot for anybody. Parenting, period. Doesn't matter if you have a child with an ability, because I figure we all have abilities. It's just different on what our ability is, right?
Mm-hmm. I would say to the parents out there that is finding out that their loved one or their child has CP, or the relatives per se, there is a bright side to CP. As we're speaking right now, there's a parent in the hospital being told that their child has cerebral palsy. Happens every 5 seconds, according to the Cerebral Palsy Foundation. So my thoughts and prayers go out to you guys. But
Absolutely.
my advice would be is always be encouraging, always like take time to get to know you and how your daily routine's gonna work, come up with a plan. And I just want to tell parents it's okay to have frustrating days. But the one thing I want to tell them is be patient. Be patient and just express an emotion if you need to express it. It's okay.
It's okay. Absolutely. Absolutely. So now I know we didn't touch on earlier, but we talked about how your your diagnosis is spastic, right? Can you
Yes.
explain a little bit of that to those that may not be educated on that?
Spastic dysplasia. Have you ever seen a Jack in the Box
Yes, I like Jack in the Box.
and jumping beans?
Yes.
That's exactly how I would describe spastic dysplasia, because our bodies like to party and it's all over the place. It's like having a bunch of kids in a bouncy house for like their 5th birthday party, but imagine that on your body.
Oh my. So that can be very painful, huh?
And and like it feels like your body's being yanked
Hmm.
and you're constantly tight. Yeah, I hate to say it in the negative terms, but keeping it very minimum here.
Absolutely. And keeping it real as well. So, no, I thank you for sharing that. And you've already shared earlier on how you get away from those frustrating days, and what you do, you consider it having a party, right?
Got it.
So that's good things that you know how to channel when when you have a spastic outbreak. You know how to channel it and kind of help it come back to some form of normalcy to help you get away from that pain, right?
Yes.
Absolutely, absolutely. So now, Tylia, tell us what's next for you, because you got a whole lot going on, sister girl. So share with with the listeners, what is next for Tylia Flores.
What's next for me is I'm currently writing another book called Why I Advocate, and that's a memoir based on my life with CP and the reasons why I advocate. I'm still working on it. It's been an ongoing process, and I'm proud of it. And the following step is for me to go do motivational speaking and to be a part of the community and eventually spread awareness about the ADA and what's wrong with the ADA, and be a cerebral palsy advocate, just not for me but for the next generation.
Absolutely. Well, we definitely thank you for all the great things that you're currently doing and all the endeavors that you're working to do. And I look forward to seeing you on stage and supporting you off screen and on screen, wherever it is. So just know that you have you have my support.
Yes. Be sure to follow me on Twitter though and Facebook.
Absolutely. We'll definitely do that. So I'm happy that you stated that. As we come to a close, how can listeners connect with you and support you? So give out your Twitter handler, your website, and any other ways, Facebook, and how our listeners can connect with you and even invite you as a motivational speaker, whatever they have in mind.
Okay. So you can follow me at Stomping on Cerebral Palsy with Tylia. You can follow me on Instagram at Stomping on CP with Tylia, and you can follow me on Twitter at Stomping on CP01. And you can visit my website at www.tyliaflores.com.
Absolutely. So you heard all those great things from Tylia Flores. It has been definitely great conversing with you. And I look forward to any time for you to come back on. We can talk about anything else you like. So, you drum it up and we'll make it happen. How about that?
That'll be awesome.
All right. So, Hindsighters, thank you for tuning in to Keeping It Real with Miss T with my amazing guest and my sister friend, Miss Tylia Flores, aka Miss Ty. So we'll hear you next week on Motivational Monday. Miss Tylia will be airing soon, so just stay tuned. Check out our Facebook and all of our websites, www.hindsightmediaradio.com, where there's always something good to talk about. We hope that you have a good night.
We hope that you have a good night, everybody.